So everything was going well there, and then all of a sudden yesterday we had a little incident in the world today. Anybody follow the little incident that happened with our presidential candidates? President Trump was at a rally in Pennsylvania, and somebody tried to kill him. And so I was watching all the events on TV, and I realized I had discovered another wise as serpent, gentle as dove moments. I'm always trying to tell you, as believers, you have to realize that the media is biased. And you have to dig deeper on things. They will say anything, and what happens is, if you remember back in the New Testament, remember Jesus looked on the crowds and it said, he felt compassion for them because they were like something. Anybody know what they were like? Sheep. You know, sheep follow along very easily, kind of do whatever they're told. And sadly, that's still true about us today. The sheep will just listen to anything the media says. And so I start watching, and so here's the first, I'm watching NBC, and here's the line. One spectator dead, another injured, shooter is dead. That's the main line that is running underneath there. Now, I had already seen the video that NBC was showing. And in the video, you could hear the gunshots. You could see President Trump grab his ear and then fall to the ground. The headline should have been, former president shot in an assassination attempt. That's what the headline should be. And that should be whether it was Obama or Carter or Clinton. The presidents that serve this country are due respect as a part of it. I don't care what side you're on. I've told you this before. Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. They hold an office, a position that God allowed them to have, and that deserves respect. So they kept running this line. Then eventually, they switched to this. Trump apparently injured after shots fired. Now, it wouldn't have been so bad, but they kept replaying the video where you could hear the gunshots, see him grab his ear, and fall to the ground. I'm like, I can't believe that they just will not acknowledge. Their hatred for him is so deep, you can see it. So then I switched over. CNN tends to not like the former president too much. This is from their channel. I didn't make this up. This is just a screen grab from them. Secret Service rushes Trump off stage after he falls at rally. Now, you think I made that up. I didn't. That's what they posted. And so this is the kind of stuff that's going on. And so my encouragement to you is, if the media is willing to slant things for a story this big, what do you think they're doing on a daily basis? And listen, I'm talking both sides. If you hear them say something that Trump said, before you get flush and your ears start to explode, dig deep and find out if it was said. Same thing about something that they say about Biden. Listen, the problem in our country right now is we are no longer voting for issues, voting to keep our country strong. You know, Wednesday nights, we pray for our leaders every time. And we pray for one reason. We want to keep this country of ours strong so that we can continue to enjoy the freedoms we have that lets us talk about Jesus. But the one thing, if you haven't noticed, it is no longer about issues. It is no longer about our country. It is about the hatred they have for one another. And the hatred for Donald Trump is unbelievable. I've caught a couple people afterwards literally say, I'm sorry they missed. I mean, that's just hatred. And you know that it's hatred because, listen, however you feel about people, and listen, our current president, President Biden, has no business running for another term. And if you've been following him on the news, you know why. It has nothing to do with his politics, it has nothing to do with what he believes in. He clearly is getting to the point where he's having some trouble mentally dealing with things. If you saw him at the see, now I'm right there too, the debate, thank you. I mean, it was a sad thing to watch. And since then, they try to keep propping him up, and it's an embarrassment to us. He was at a summit last week. He was getting ready to introduce the president of Ukraine, who is under deep trouble from Russia. His name is Zelensky. Trump, in front of this large audience, in front of millions on television, says, I want to now turn it over to the president of Ukraine, President Putin. And I'm not making that up. I watched it. I saw it as it happened. He just shouldn't be running as the leader of the free world. So why do people keep propping him up? Because they hate the opposition. If 50% of the country is still wanting to vote for somebody who doesn't pretty much know where he's at or what he's talking about, it means everything's rooted in hatred. What does it mean for us? We need to talk positively. We need to pray for our leaders. We need to pray that God takes control of this election, as he always does. And then just pray that the rhetoric dies down. Now, how does that happen? You start spreading to your friends and say, listen, you know, I found that the media is a little biased. I choose to dig a little deeper. There are sites out there that literally fact check people. They'll fact check at the debates. You got to find those sites and find out what the truth is. Then make your decisions based on the truth. These media sources, MSNBC, NBC, CNN, Fox, any one of them have their own bias. So just be careful. The Christian has to be wise as serpents, gentle as doves. You can't buy into this stuff because he wasn't rushed off to the stage after a rally. Shots were fired. Last night, I don't know, there were 2 people in critical condition. One had already died. I don't know if anything happened this morning. I haven't checked yet, if anybody else died. But this was a real event. Real people got shot. Former President Trump was injured. The fact that they would put this up there while playing the video tells you something about what's going on in the world. So my advice is, guys, just be careful.